If you like traveling to places with beautiful earth and spiritual energy, Tahiti is one of the most magnificent places I have ever been to in my life. This is Krishanti with Krishanti.com, and I'm so happy you're here. We can talk about all things related to psychic development and spiritual and personal growth. Now, I'm sure you've heard about the vortexes and the energy in Sedona and the power center at Mount Shasta and Uluru and all of these places all over the world with really good energy. I've been to Sedona. I've experienced that energy. I love going to Mount Shasta, which has a lot of great energy that helps facilitate channeling and all that because there's divine beings connected to that space. But when I stepped off the plane in Tahiti, you guys, I was absolutely overwhelmed by the earth energy and the spiritual energy there. It's undeniable. It's all-encompassing. It's primal. So if you have a hard time being grounded like I do, just being in that part of the world grounds you. They are so connected to the earth, and the earth energy there is so powerful. There are vortexes everywhere. I wasn't expecting to find vortexes. We went to this waterfall site, Furumi, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Furumi Waterfalls. And just walking up to the waterfall, I'm like, wait, what is this? I feel it. Vortex. You'd walk away, come back, and you can feel it. And how I know that I'm in a vortex or a place with powerful earth energy is my throat chakra starts to open up. So if you're thinking of places where you felt a certain reaction, please share it in the comments below. Like, was it your throat chakra? Is it a tingling? Is it a buzzing? Like, what do you feel when you're at a power center on the earth? It's so cool to see how other people experience it. But for me, throat chakra, it wasn't the kind of trip where I could sit and do channeling, but the throat chakra directly correlates to your ability to channel energies. So when I go back, I'll definitely do some channeling sessions there. So the waterfalls, there's a vortex. There's a vortex when you're walking into the beach. There's a vortex at this beautiful water garden. There are vortexes all over the place. And what's so cool about the energy here, and this is the main island of Tahiti itself, also Moorea, which is very close by. What's so interesting is on Tahiti itself, you're only able to access the perimeter, like the edges of the island by the ocean. The interior is all jungle, and there's only one road. So you can't even really get in there to explore and see what kind of energies are going on there. But I'll bet you anything, it's going to be off the charts magnificent. I just wasn't expecting it. And so I was so moved by the energy I was feeling there that I wanted to study their spirituality. And I've learned that what's really sad, as is the case in many places across the world, Tahiti was a lush paradise, and then the explorers found it. So up came Captain Cook and the guys from the Mutiny on the Bounty, and then they sent in their missionaries. So they're like, oh, we found this great place and the people are really nice. They'll let us do whatever we want. So let's send our missionaries in. And the missionaries see their practices. And let's talk about their practices for a minute. The foundation of Tahitian spirituality is it's mana. That's like the energy is in everything, which is, you could feel it. You feel that energy in everything. There's a story at this beautiful water garden, a sacred site that I went to, of a healer channeling energy from a rock to put into the body of a warrior, a human warrior. So she's channeling the energy of the rock to do the healing on the warrior. They're really into spiritualism. So they're really all about talking to those ghosts of the dead and the undead and spirit life. It's like the spirits are alive. It's as if the veil there is very thin. And there's so many fun stories about spirit activity. Now, I don't want to be a part of that, but the stories were really, really fun and interesting. They had their medicine men, or like you could call it a witch doctor. They did do sacrifices, and they did believe or do believe in different types of gods and deities and beings. Tattooing was a very central part of Tahitian culture, and it's spiritual in nature as well as very cultural. The Tahitians are tattooed specifically with motifs that describe where they're from, what they do for a living, their ancestral line, so many different aspects of their identity tied into the sacred tattooing process. If someone in the tribe refused to be tattooed, because at the time you could die from infections and things like that, if anyone refused to be tattooed, they would be ostracized from the society because you'd look like a wimp, because you didn't get the tattoos. But that's how important and central tattooing is to the culture. So these missionaries came and said, your tattooing is satanic. Your stuff, what you believe in isn't right. Women, you got to cover up. They were, walk around shirtless, put your shirts on, and build some churches, and you're going to do it this way. And kind of just told them all the stuff that they've been following, these beautiful practices for millennia, were wrong. And that boils my blood, but it feels like it's the way of the Western world. And I as I was there in Tahiti, I kept thinking about how nice it would be if it were just lush and unspoiled and none of this. I love French culture, but I didn't like French culture in Tahiti. When I'm in France, it's like, okay, I love it. But in Tahiti, it felt like, why are you here? The Tahitians themselves, like the true Tahitians, are peaceful and wonderful and beautiful. And the French that we encountered there didn't seem to have that same, maybe it wasn't all of them, but it could be some post-pandemic stuff we're dealing with too, but it wasn't that same nature. And then I was thinking about it and reading as well about, with the settlers came the introduction of refined, flours, baguettes. They eat baguettes all the time, the cheeses, canned foods. And the Tahitians themselves said, hey, look, we've got all these skulls here from thousands of years ago, or however long a skull will stay intact, with their teeth still intact. Living human beings right now are losing their teeth because of the diet. Before these Westerners came, they ate what was on the land and in the sea. And the earth provided everything. It provided proper nutrition, it provided medicine, all of those medicinal plants, and everyone did just fine. Here comes the modernization and all this horrible traffic. People are having these comorbidities and all of this. The French did some nuclear experiments around there. Isn't that fun? That's what modernization did, and then told them their old ways were satanic, so you got to worship all this. So it's all like this big cluster. But to put this in a more positive note, I'm feeling like ultimately we are trending back to or connecting with the earth again, and realizing that some of these most basic practices, like growing your own food on your own little plot of land, where you can, where you're not spraying it with pesticides or genetically modifying it or making it, inedible for human beings, is more of the way to go, living close to the earth, which is something the Tahitians have known since forever. They're just remarkably advanced civilization with their navigation skills and so many of the ways that they practiced, the way that they ran their society. It's primarily peaceful. It's just magnificent. So I'm rambling on about this because I just wanted to share that mostly just how astounded I was with how incredible the energy is over there. And then how saddened I was that it was kind of being a little bit spoiled, but I feel like there is still hope. All the old mare, which are the sacred temples, were abandoned, but you could still feel that beautiful earth energy there. So we'll see what we'll all trend into. What do you guys think about that? Like, what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on telling certain people that their practices are wrong, like their spiritual beliefs are not correct? I feel like that's such an invasion of a basic human right, if you want to focus on finding your spiritual path or experiencing some of the energies that I have some gorgeous channeled energy healings that I channeled from the beings I connected with when I first went up to Mount Shasta. So check that out at krishandi.com. And again, let me know your thoughts on your travels to sacred sites and beautiful places and what you feel about that kind of energy. So thanks for watching, and that's all for now. I'll see you next time. Bye.